everything about me is going to come out in the public record. And I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again. I've done some dumb things as a senator, done some dumb things as a lawyer.
Joe Biden is a dummy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb. That's it. Fire away.
More than 35 members of Congress publicly calling for him to abandon his campaign. And our latest poll shows 61% of Americans believe Biden should leave the race, including 60% of Democrats.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever. Not a close second, and I've known him for years.
President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid.
Now, he's cogent, but I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent.
President Joe Biden has just announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
Just moments ago, the president tweeted out, "While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down."
He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
Well, President Biden announcing he will not run for re-election, of course, facing a reckoning over his age and ability to do the job and what appeared to be long odds to beat Trump in November.
And F you if you can't handle the truth.
In his first interview since last week's presidential debate, President Joe Biden was adamant. He believes he is still fit to be the Democratic nominee, and he is not dropping out of the race for president.
If the Lord Almighty came out and said, Joe, get out of the race, I get out of the race, the Lord Almighty's not coming down.
President Joe Biden has just announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race.
If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?
It depends if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that, I might do that.
This is an NBC News special report.
President Biden will step aside as the presumptive Democratic nominee. He will suspend his bid for a second term, and instead he will pave the way for a different Democratic candidate to face former President Trump.
And if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi come down and say, we're worried that if you stay in the race, we're going to lose the House and the Senate, how will you respond?
Every one of them. They all said I should stay in the race.
Chuck Schumer has spoken to Joe Biden and told him to get out of the race. That is gigantic. He is the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, of course, the Senate Majority Leader. And it turns out Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democrats in the House, has also said the same thing to Joe Biden.
I agree that the Lord Almighty is not going to come down.
I am the chosen one.
If you are told reliably from your allies, from your friends and supporters in the Democratic Party, in the House and the Senate, that they're concerned you're going to lose the House and the Senate if you stay in, what will you do?
I'm not going to answer that question. It's not going to happen.
Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi has joined other high-powered party leaders urging the president to give up his re-election bid.
It's not going to happen.
She and other Democratic leaders worry the president is dragging down the party. Those other leaders include Hakeem Jeffries and then Democratic Senate leader Chuck Schumer.
It's not going to happen.
You sure?
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
And that Chuck Schumer forcefully made the case that it would be better for Biden, better for the Democratic Party, and better for the country if he were to bow out of the race.
They all said I should stay in the race. Stay in the race. None of the people said I should leave.
But if they do?
Well, it's like, they're not going to do that. Guess what? They're trying to push me out of the race. Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race.
We have breaking news here. President Biden has announced he will stand down from the race.
I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
Now that Joe Biden's dropping out of the race, there's a growing call for him to leave the White House right now.
The Democratic Party is a family. This is a family matter, you know. Joe Biden's body may not be as strong as it used to be, his language skills may not be as sharp as they used to be. His heart is as big as ever. His heart is as big and as true and as strong. And this is the difference between a politician and a leader.
Oh, shit. Nigga, please.
He made a selfless decision, and people are heartbroken.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit.
Even people who are pushing for this to happen, it's kind of like when your grandpa, you got to take the keys.
Must it be a reconciliation?
What must be what?
If there had not been a debate before the Democratic convention, Joe Biden would be the Democrat nominee for president. The media, the Democrat Party don't give a damn about this country. They just stole an election from their own voters. They stole an election from their own voters.
Because this is somebody that you love. This is somebody that you care about. This is somebody who was there for you. This is somebody, you wouldn't be here without him. And you had to take something from him.
And you ain't black.
But this is a human moment for one of the great humans in America. This is leadership. This is patriotism. This is what it means to put the country first.
Get the fuck out of here.
Democrats and our media have made a mockery of the presidency, of the vice presidency, and our entire electoral system, a mockery to the entire world. The Democrat Party is trying to install Harris into the presidency like any autocratic regime would.
She's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she fucked her way to the top. Oh, Lord. They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapades. She fucked damn near everybody trying to get up. She used to be a frat hoe when she was at Howard. And she ain't black. You know,
I ain't got nothing to do with this, Miss Harris.
Nah, I mean, well, don't, but she's
I don't know, I'm just listening.
You thought Biden was a complete nightmare. Don't expect any better from Kamala Harris. After all, she was just part of this whole cover-up all along.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
If she gets the nomination, who is really going to be running the show in the White House?
It will be Wall Street, it will be big business, and it will be Hollywood. They're the people who chose Biden. They're the people who made the money off of Biden. He can't make them any more money, so now they've ditched him. And they're holding an audition. I don't know if it will be Kamala. I think they haven't decided, but they're who matter. Those 15, 16 million Democrat primary voters, they don't matter.
Of course, the president has said that the only things that would make him reconsider staying in this race would be the Lord Almighty or a medical condition. But again, we know that the conversations he was having in recent days were more reality-based, more around the polling and the evidence showing that he was not able to defeat former President Trump in a head-to-head matchup.
And F you if you can't handle the truth.
What do you think of Harris as the Democratic nominee and potential president?
Let me start Kamala Harris style. You see, there's this thing. It's called the presidency, and it's even bigger and more important than the vice presidency. You see, and when the person running for the presidency decides not to run, the vice presidential candidate is most likely to step into those shoes. That person who talks like that is not going to be our next president.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
This was widely mocked on social media. Many saying she sounds like she's talking to a bunch of kindergartners.
Sesame Street, The Muppet Show would have done a much better job. It would have made more sense if she had sounded more Kardashian-like, like Russia's this big country and it's invading Ukraine and that is like really bad. That's what she sounded like.
No, we have gone almost 250 years without a female president. 250. The country is used to things a certain way. And it's going to take a very special female candidate to make them see it a different way. And she is not it. But she's a fool. She's not a smart person. If you listen to her, as I have now for so many years, you glean that she is faking it.
Yesterday, President Biden announced he was going to bow out of the 2024 presidential race. Is everybody okay?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it shows what a statesman he is. I think it shows what a patriot he is. I think it shows that he can put his country before his ego, because he had such a great record as—
Get the fuck out of here. He's right here, all right?
I think that history will note him as one of the greatest presidents that we've had.
The 81-year-old President Joe Biden has finally come to the conclusion that he's dropping out of the race. But apparently, he'll continue to run the country until a new president is sworn in with no problems at all. Nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. America will just continue to have a leader whose mental state is in rapid decline and who's not well enough to hold a press conference to make an announcement as significant as this to the American people, including those who have been supporting him despite all his massive mistakes. They had to hear the news via a social media post from the president, who has provided no reason as to why he's dropping out now. What a leader.
The fact that he has endorsed the Vice President, Kamala Harris, to be his successor makes it even more clear to me that it's not if she's going to be the nominee, it is when she is the nominee.
The massive cover-up that was engaged in by the White House and the media. And right now, as predicted, they're falling in to praise Joe Biden. Oh, he's such a hero. He's such a patriot. All of the ones who enabled this fraud to begin with.
To see everyone fall in line so quickly is fascinating. It's not surprising, but it's fascinating, because if Kamala Harris is the nominee, if a bunch of people consolidate behind her, donors, actors, media figures consolidate behind Kamala Harris, the snowball starts rolling down the hill. She is going to have that same machine that was so powerful that they covered up Joe Biden's cognitive issues for years. And we're so lucky that that debate happened when it did, because it was a crack in that facade. That facade stood because these people are lying, and they're lying with very powerful platforms. That's now going to be behind Kamala Harris, who is objectively a bad candidate. That machine is really, really powerful, and it is desperate to keep Donald Trump out of office.
Point.
Donald Trump, now it's on him. Now he's the oldest presidential.
Well, I have distinguished between Joy Behar at 81 and President Biden. I've said before that it's not the number, it's how the number looks on the person.
And being a host of The View is different than being the president.
And again.
What's your plan to turn the campaign around?
Saw it today. How many people do you draw crowds like I drew today?
Huh? I mean, I don't think you want to play the crowd game. Donald Trump can draw big crowds. There's no question about that.
He can draw a big crowd, but what does he say? Who's he have? I'm the guy supposedly in trouble.
And F you if you can't handle the truth.
I am your voice.
Now, Politico reported over the weekend that Donald Trump may have a price when it comes to leaving the presidential race. Anna, what's the latest with that?
About some former aides and associates positing that $150 million might be Donald Trump's magic number. He is so money-driven that he actually could have a price tag instead of what going for the presidential, for the White House.
See those guys? That's the most dishonest group of human beings you'll ever. I mean, one of these groups said today that Donald Trump, now think of this. First of all, it's illegal. Second of all, the last thing I would do in the world, Donald Trump may sell his campaign, may sell it. He wants $150 million. Can you believe this? Donald Trump may. Number one, you can't do it. Number two, you could offer me 5 times that amount, and I wouldn't do it. One of the people was supposedly quoted, he might do it for $5 billion. Now, for $5 billion, I guess we have to think about it, right?